What if every single asset that you post this year, every video, every social media, every newsletter, looked and sounded like it came from the same brand? Your brand, right? And what if you could launch all of it with just one sentence? Here's what I know you're thinking. You're thinking, I've tried that with AI and it doesn't work. It sounds like a robot. It looks generic. It's not reliable. And most of the time, I end up spending more time trying to fix it than if I had just written it and created it in Canva myself. I know you're thinking that, but I promise you, Meryl and I have figured out how to hand Claude your brand, but not just your colors, your actual voice, your shapes, everything. Every single asset that you want to create when you launch a listing or do a social media post with a consistent, reliable output every single time. And to boot, it'll even bake in your compliance rules. Think of this as the design team that never sleeps. So I'm going to pass you off to Merrill, and he's going to show you what's on the other side of teaching Claude your brand, right? This asset's going to help you get everything set up and make your life incredibly easier when it comes to creating assets that look like you and sound like you every single time with AI's help.
I'm Merrill, and I'm not going to walk you through every step-by-step part of the installation. We built a free guide, and it is in the video description. Now, the part that can be sometimes slightly confusing for people is that it is an HTML file. So grab that Google Drive link that we have in the video description, download the HTML file, then double click to open it. It should open it as a new tab in your browser, and it becomes an interactive guide that allows you to check off boxes and mark things as you've completed them to make sure that you don't miss any of the essential first steps as you begin your installation journey. My job is to show you what you're going to get on the other side of this, because I know it's going to be a bit of a tedious installation journey. It's probably going to take you, depending on how in depth you want to be, it's probably going to take you an hour, maybe 90 minutes to do this complete setup. But I promise it's going to pay huge dividends. It's going to save you tons of time in the future once you have it all done. And you're going to be able to create incredible assets with just a quick sentence. Imagine being able to launch your listings with dozens of open house flyers, just listed flyers, just low sold flyers, all of it on brand, all of it on point, all of it in your voice, because you took the time to set this up. So please bear with me, and I promise you're going to love this on the other end. So here's the big question. Why is AI so generic? You've probably tried going to AI, ChatGPT, or any of the other tools and asked it to design a flyer or a video script or different things like that for you. And oftentimes it's not on your brand, it's not in your colors, it's not in your voice, and it can feel very frustrating. Why is that? Well, because every time you ask AI for something, it's like you're asking a new intern on their first day to design something in your voice. The intern doesn't know you, and the intern doesn't know your voice. They don't know exactly how you speak. They don't know what your sales style is. They don't know what your value proposition is. So every time they make something for you, you end up with something that looks different, and then your brand ends up being an extremely incohesive mess. Your buyer's presentation and your listing presentation and your open house flyers and your social media content don't look like they match. It's hard to even tell sometimes that you're the same agent. Trust me, I know from coaching agents all over the country, what's one of the things we deal with. Sometimes we look at their agent profiles and we say, gosh, you've got all these different pictures and bios in all these different places. I can't even tell for sure if this is the same person. So the fix is that we need to help the AI understand all of those details about you. We need to help the AI understand what your voice and your colors and your tone of voice and your speaking style and your ideal consumer are. And that's why we're doing this incredibly detailed setup. There's also been another big issue with AI generated content. You've probably been seeing more and more of this AI slop phrase that is getting talked about all over the place. The consumer is tired of AI slop. They're not interested in a fancy report that you put together in 3 minutes if it doesn't actually bring value. Even if every single time you wanted to design a flyer, you had some sort of master prompt designed that explained your brand voice and your style and your guide, it doesn't have a great way of storing your actual brand assets, such as your logos, your headshots, the photos of your listings, all those types of things. AI doesn't usually store those for long term use. So you have to upload it every single time. You come back a week later and you say you want an open house flyer designed, and it doesn't even have your headshot and your logo anymore. And you have to go find them and upload them again. And if your Google Drive looks anything like mine does, just re-finding your headshot again can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. But check out what's possible with Claude Design. Once you go through the tedious process of taking it through and letting it design your comprehensive brand guide, now every time in the future, when you ask it to create an open house flyer or a video script or a social media asset piece, it's always going to stick with your headshot, your colors, your logos, and your vibe. And it is incredibly powerful. Also, with just a single prompt, it can create multiple assets. So you could put in a prompt, and once we're done with the installation guide, we're going to show you how you take a new listing and say, hey, with this new listing, give me 5 marketing pieces all in one prompt. I want a social media post, I want a carousel post, I want a single property website, like whatever it is that you want it to create, it can build it in your brand and in your voice on a single prompt. I even asked it to build a single property website for me the other day. And in a few minutes, it had designed this incredible single property landing page with the photos, the schools. It even pulled in a Google map showing where the property was located without me having to even ask for that feature. Honestly, it was kind of a pipe dream. I wasn't even sure if I could do it. I just said, hey, here's some details on my newest listing. Could you build a property website for this? And bam, check out what this created. Imagine what you could build with an even more detailed prompt. That's the moment this stopped being a toy for me. Now, I told you at the beginning of this video that I was going to shoot straight with you and try to tell you like it is. This is not going to be a super easy 5-minute copy and paste this prompt and you're done. At least not if you want it done at a very high level. I want you to really take your time going through building a very robust brand guide so that in the future, Claude Design will always be able to make things for you that are on brand and on point. I want you to think about some of your favorite brands. The one that popped into my head was Starbucks. Have you ever seen anything from Starbucks that doesn't look like it came from Starbucks? If you build this out the right way, it will be able to do that to your brand. All of your YouTube thumbnails, all of your postcards, all of your mailers, your listing guide, your buyer guide, any of your website, your other assets, all have a cohesive feel. And that is what this is going to do for you. But you have to be willing to take your time in the setup. Now, I've done my very best to make it as easy as possible for you by building this brand guide install, and I've also got it set up so that Claude will handle a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So let me just give you a really quick high level overview of what this brand guide is and how it works and how to use it, because I've got it set up so that Claude will go out and find as much of the stuff about your brand for you automatically. So let me just give you a quick high level overview of how it works, what it does, and why it matters. So the first thing you can do, fill in all your information, say that your brand details on this page are filled out, and then say continue to step 2. It wants you to audit any of the skills that you already have in your Claude account. If you already have brand skills installed in your Claude account, I can almost guarantee that they are not as robust as what we're getting ready to create. So my recommendation would be to remove or delete or at least inactivate any of the brand skills that you already have in your Claude account. Otherwise, it's going to confuse the system and it's not going to know which brand guide to use. So that's what you're going to want to do there. Then you're going to open up a new chat. You're going to make sure that your Gmail or Outlook are connected, because we're going to look at the emails that you send to copy your voice to help Claude understand a little bit more about how you write and how you speak. So that becomes part of your brand guide. Once we have confirmed that you've removed any extra skills that we're not going to need and that you've got your Gmail connected inside of Claude, go ahead and continue to step 2. And then it is going to take this really awesome detailed prompt that we designed. And all you're going to do is you're going to copy and paste this. You're going to put it into Claude. Claude is going to go through and do a discovery. It's going to go out and it's going to look for your information on the internet. It's going to look for your Zillow profile, your realtor profile, your Instagram profile. It's going to gather your links, your websites, your bios that you have written, and put together a findings document of everything it was able to find about your brand automatically. Then, once you're done with getting Claude to find everything it can about your brand automatically, you're going to move to this build your brand file. And now there's a new prompt that you're going to take and you're going to copy and paste that. This one's going to walk you through inconsistencies that it's finding in your brand. It's going to flag things like, hey, your Zillow profile says you've been in business for 10 years, but your realtor.com profile says you've been in the business for 13 years. Which is it? Right? I mean, it's going to find little inconsistencies. And my big tip on this would be flag those for later, but don't get completely hung up on trying to make brand inconsistencies perfect. It'll give you a little bit of a to-do list, but all you really need to do now is just in the chat, Claude will start asking you, hey, what's the correct amount of time you've been in the business? What's your accurate website? Can you confirm this is your accurate Facebook profile? It's just going to go through and ask you question by question by question, confirming the information that it was able to find about your brand, asking for clarifying questions. You'll confirm all of that information, and then it is going to give you, based on this prompt, a brand file, a markdown file is what it's called. It can either just be downloaded or it can just be copied and pasted into Claude Design. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, now you are at the stage where you are ready to actually set up Claude Design. Let me first just show you how to get to Claude Design. The first thing is you just want to be in a normal Claude.ai browser window, not using the Claude desktop application or Claude in Chrome or the Claude mobile app. And you're just going to come over here to the left-hand side and look for the button that says design. Go ahead and click it, and it is going to open up in a new window. Now, all these tiles that you're seeing right here will mostly be blank for yours because you haven't begun to create any assets yet, but you're going to come to design systems. And once you're in design systems, you're going to say create. The first thing that it's going to ask when you begin setting up your design system is for a company name and blurb. Guess what? We already designed that for you in your brand guide install. Just come right here and boom, this is where you're going to name it. You can skip the GitHub and .fig options. And then you're going to take the brand file, that markdown file that you had in your Claude conversation, and you are going to paste it right here in the any other notes section. It doesn't matter how long it is. It could be 20 pages long. You are able to post it in this section. And then this part is super critical, like super critical. Right here, you're going to hit browse. And just like you would be attaching files to an email, you're going to go through and you're going to attach all of your actual brand assets, such as your listing presentation, your buyer guide, your logo, your profile pictures, your broker's logos, variations of your profile pictures. If you have any templated materials that you love and you already use on a regular basis, let's say, for example, every time you list a home or every time you close a home, you post the same template, provide examples of that to it. If you have hero images of previous listings that you've sold or community photos or any type of assets that you want to be able to use over and over again, community photos or your 10 prettiest listing photos of houses that you've ever sold that you want to have included in your listing presentation. So be thorough, really take your time, don't skip steps, and upload as much as you can think of. But don't upload old profile pictures, old logos, old materials that you don't want to use anymore. If it's like a templated item and it's current and it's modern and you love the look of it and you want to stick with that vibe, go ahead and upload it here. When you are done with all of that, it is going to take a while, especially if you did a thorough job uploading everything. It is going to go through all of the information that we uploaded, and it is going to begin building a brand guide for you. When it is done analyzing everything in your brand guide, it is going to begin presenting to you all sorts of brand materials that you're going to either approve or say that it needs work or that you don't love it, one thing at a time. So you'll come to this website UI kit. You come to this website UI kit and you just look at sort of the mock-up of a proposed website that it built for you. you probably are not going to use this website, right? So it's less about whether the website is one that you're ready to deploy, and more about like how well did Claude nail your brand voice, right? So if you feel like it's good, then go ahead and say looks good. If you feel like, you know what, I wish my logo was bigger, or oh boy, I really don't like that font, or they called me the Phoenix Realtor and I don't want to be considered the Phoenix Realtor. I want to be considered the East Valley Realtor, right? Like go through and clarify everything that you would want to have improved. If you want to say needs work, when you click on that needs work option, it will give you a choice to add some comments and things that you would like to have tweaked about it. But anyway, you're going to go through and you're going to look at all of these different, it's going to give you typesets with your fonts. It's going to go through each of your brand colors. You get to specify which ones are like kind of lead colors and which one's more of an accent color. It even goes through and builds an accent scale for each of your colors. Again, you're going to go through each of these items on this list. And if you're happy with it, you're going to go ahead and approve it. And if you think it needs work, then you're going to say it needs work. But once you've gone through everything and approved it or tweaked the things and you've got everything that you like, your brand guide is built. Now you are able to go back in and change it later. It's super easy. You just pull up your brand guide again and come into this conversation and say, hey, I've updated my logo. This is the new logo. Or, hey, I've updated my headshot. Update all of our brand guide with this new headshot. And you know what? While you're at it, go ahead and rebuild my listing presentation with this headshot in it. That's the power of what you're going to do. So please take your time with this step. Once your brand guide is built, come back out to the main home screen, this Claude AI design page, and you're going to create a new prototype. Now it asks you if you want a wireframe or a high fidelity piece. Wireframe is like, hey, how about I just put together a bit of a mock-up? I'm not going to totally bring in all of your profile photos and bios and things like that. We're just going to kind of create a sketch of what we're looking to create. It's almost, for me, it's almost like, have you ever taken a buyer to look at a new build home and it's nothing but studs? It's hard to really envision what's going to be there. So I'm almost always selecting high fidelity. Of course, you're going to use more tokens when you do it that way, so you'll run out of credits faster. But this tool is really going to save you a lot of time and money in brand design type things once you have it set up. So if you decide you feel like you need to upgrade your Claude account like I did, I honestly think it's going to save you money in the long run. So anyway, name your project and let's go ahead and build your first asset. So if you come into the brand guide again, it tells you to just literally copy and paste this and build a meet your agent intro card. This is just intended to kind of test your brand kit and say, build something basic that I could post on Instagram. It doesn't matter if I have a listing or anything like that. So go in there, ask it to create it. If you love it, then great. If it still needs work, go back and tweak your brand guide until it's able to produce something that you absolutely love. Then, and this is the one that I'm really excited about, if you have a recent listing, a new listing, or if not, just go back to your most recent listing just so you can test this workflow. Copy and paste this prompt. And using your brand guide, it is going to launch for you an open house flyer, a just listed flyer, a carousel post, a single Instagram post, a vertical listing video, all with just this one prompt. Now, you will have to give it some details about the listing. I would recommend uploading 5 or 6 hero shots, your favorite photos of the listing that it created. And the other little hack that I've been doing is I just upload the MLS plano. Just go to my MLS and save it as a PDF, upload it. Now it's got the description, bedroom, bathroom, square footage, lot size, community. All of the information it needs is in the MLS plano, the pictures, and my brand guide. It'll take it probably 10 or 15 minutes to finish building all of these assets. But when you're done, man, look at all of the things that it's going to create for you. Now, where it gets even more exciting is that this is just the beginning, right? We created 5 assets on one of your listings, big deal. Now I want you to really look at how you can further customize this. Perhaps it makes an asset for a just listed that you love. And you're like, oh my gosh, I want that to be my just listed postcard that I send out on every single listing that I take in the future. Say, lock that template in to my brand guide, right? And it'll be able to save it as a brand asset. And now every time you launch a new listing, it will use that template. Give it your listing presentation and say, hey, this is my listing presentation. We designed it 5 years ago and it doesn't quite match our new brand colors. Can you update it to make it look more like our new brand colors? stuff like that, and just continue to create and create more and more until your entire brand is completely cohesive. And every time you launch a listing, all 13 outputs that you need are done for you. So keep coming back to your brand guide and editing it. This is the easiest to edit, easiest to use brand guide I've ever seen. I absolutely cannot wait for you guys to begin using this tool. It looks a little scary on the surface, but it is an absolute game changer once you start using it. The point is, the agents who win with AI are not the ones with the best prompts. The agents who are winning with AI are the ones who taught it at an extremely deep level who they are, and they only had to do it one time. I really hope you found this information helpful. If you would like to continue to see more ways that we are using Claude to automate and improve our business and serve our clients at a higher level, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing with a friend.